Imagine a time when women were often relegated to domestic roles, their sexuality was taboo, and any deviation from expected behavior could be labeled an illness. Welcome to the Victorian Era, a fascinating and complex time where one diagnosis in particular dominated the landscape of women's health: hysteria. In the meantime, subscribe to the channel if you like these videos and leave a like. Now let's start. We are in 19th century England under the long reign of Queen Victoria. It is an age of innovation, art, literature, and science. Authors such as Charles Dickens and Jane Austen describe a fascinating but rigid society. Women, idealized, fragile, relegated to very narrow roles. In this context, a curious and disturbing epidemic is emerging: female hysteria. The word hysteria comes from the Greek hystero, meaning uterus. For centuries, it was believed that women were more prone to emotional disturbances because of their natural sensitivity. In the 19th century, this belief became stronger. It was thought that modern life, frenetic and noisy, could disturb the fragile female balance. Fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, mood swings, everything was traced back to hysteria, a diagnosis so widespread that it seemed like a real epidemic. Doctors of the time, often self-proclaimed experts in female disorders, improvised as cures of hysteria. The theories were absurd. Some thought of a wandering uterus that moved around the body, causing havoc. Others spoke of imbalances of humors and internal fluids. But everyone, or almost everyone, agreed on one thing: they had the solution. And what solutions? Among the most extravagant cures, we find the rotating chair, where the patient was spun at high speed to rebalance the brain fluids. Yes, it looked like an amusement park attraction. The tranquility cure, where women were confined to bed without physical or intellectual stimulation, a forced vacation from everyday life. But at what cost? And then comes the vibrator. In the late 19th century, it was introduced as a medical device, yes, you read that right, to treat hysteria through relaxing massage. At the time, it was considered a perfectly respectable therapy. Ironically, the vibrator was one of the first appliances to be patented, before the vacuum cleaner and the iron. Priority, right? Meanwhile, in the heart of Europe, a certain Sigmund Freud was proposing another theory. Hysteria was not only physical, but had psychological origins. Freud linked hysteria to repressed trauma, introducing revolutionary concepts such as hypnosis and free association. His ideas were controversial, of course, but they paved the way for the birth of psychoanalysis. But the question arises spontaneously: was hysteria a real disease or a way to control women? Victorian society repressed women, limiting them in every area, from education to politics. Being ambitious or independent was considered pathological. Toward the end of the century, women began to rebel. They demanded education, a voice, rights. Universities slowly opened their doors, and the suffrage movement grew. Maybe they weren't hysterical. Maybe they were just tired of being silenced. In the 20th century, medicine takes a leap forward. Theories of wandering uteruses and unbalanced fluids are abandoned. The term hysteria gradually disappears from medical textbooks. Women are finally starting to be seen for what they are: complete human beings with thoughts, emotions, and rights. Female hysteria is not only a bizarre page in medical history, but also a mirror of an era in which the fear of female independence was masked by scientific diagnoses. Looking back, we realize how much ideas about health, gender, and power have changed, and how much remains to be done. Because every step forward starts with an uncomfortable question, a doubt, a voice that refuses to be silenced. This story teaches us that it is not enough to treat the symptoms. We must listen, understand, and above all, give space to all voices, even those that for too long have been labeled as hysterical. That's all for today. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Your opinion is very important to me. You help me support the channel. See you next time. Bye.